Mm-hmm. Hey, dee, 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 wee, dee, da. Oh, yeah. Greetings. Thanks for being here. Okay, so quick video, fun video. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I'm going to tell you about the Valkyries. So, you may know a tiny bit about Valkyrie or the Valkyries if you watch any of the Marvel movies. So, Thor or the Avengers, they have the Valkyrie. Specifically in one of the Avenger movies where Thor ends up on a trash planet and the Hulk is there and she is there, and Thor ends up figuring out she's a Valkyrie, one of the Valkyries. Well, so in my research, so I got a lot of my information from the Encyclopedia of Spirits and Deities, and then some on Googling on the internet. So what's interesting is, once again, we find these stories of these goddesses. So the Valkyrie are also connected to the Norn goddesses, Norne. And those are the Norse goddesses of fate. And the story is that the Valkyries are goddesses, and they are goddesses of all different kinds of things, and they can be represented by a by birds. They are also known as bird goddesses, and carry all the things that go with bird goddesses. And in one of my videos where I'm talking about the snake goddesses, I dive into a book I have called The Languages of the Goddess, and one of the first goddesses are the bird goddesses. And then the Valkyries are also linked to having gifts, such as deciding who gets to stay living and who doesn't, especially in battle. And then they also get to decide where they go afterwards, because there's Valhalla. And they are very linked to Odin. And so I have also done videos about Odin. Now, I really like the Norse mythology. Again, there's another link to the number 9. They talk about the 9 realms. And Yggdrasil, the tree of life, and its branches. It also talks about the frost giants that are called the Nephilim, or Nephilim. And that's interesting, right? Because we have writings in today's day about these so-called giants. They weren't called frost giants, but they are called giants. And then we have goddesses. So we are familiar with Freya, but Odin. So the reason why I mention Odin, and the reason why I say that like that, because I was doing some research on Persephone and discovered that she was the goddess of mead, and that Odin turned himself into something, tricked her, and stole mead. And mead was magical. It had poetry qualities. That was its most is interesting, because you'll notice with like spells and songs, there's always a rhyme to it. It's a form of poetry, and it can be a muse. This is another thing we also get from some of the Celtic mythology. So he steals mead. Well, the reason why he is called the all-seeing eye is because he wanted the magics, and he was being taught by the Norn. Well, he wanted the magics of the Norn. It's like Norm, but Norn. The Norn goddesses of fate. And he saw them doing their ritual at the base of Yggdrasil, where they also were connected to the waters of Myrmir. And Myrmir ends up being the name of Thor's hammer. But Myrmir is actually a deity, a very wise deity. Well, Odin goes to the tree and sees them, offers up his eye, and then basically unalives himself for 9 days and 9 nights. Again, we see the number 9. And so then when he comes back to life, he is now fully with all the magics of the Norne goddesses. So when it comes to the Valkyrie, they're super, they know martial arts, they know magic, they know psychic abilities, they know about hunting, and they know all the things. And then they are also the teachers, and then they are also taught by the Norne goddesses. And the reason why I was mentioning that, because if you do some research on the Valkyries, which are goddesses, they are each individual goddesses. The one that we've seen in the Marvel movies is based off of Brunhilde, and you will see where they will have mixed names because they represent more than just one element, force, magic. They know about herbs. And one of my favorite things about them is they're depicted as riding Pegasuses. But in Norse mythology, the joke about a Norse horse is that it's actually a wolf, a giant wolf. And so the Valkyries rode wolves. I just think that's so cool. And they will, and their energies are that they will support, they will kind of come to battle in the spirit realm. They do battle in the spirit realm as well as in the physical realm. They were living beings, according to the lore. And am I leaving anything out? Let me do a little double check on the Valkyries. And again, the reason why I mentioned the Odin story is because he is accredited for a lot of these gifts when they weren't his. He got them from somewhere else, and we don't know the stories about them, and it's typically females. And so that's why I like to share this. Oh, okay, let's see. Are goddesses of life, death, and battle, magic, and they serve as divine escorts, guiding souls into the next realm. So you'll see some similarities to some other goddesses. They like using horns for their mead and for their drink. You are often greeted by a Valkyrie when you get to Valhalla. With a horn of mead, and the horn to me kind of brings some representation to I'm drawing a blank right now. Oh my goodness. Hathor. Sorry. And then the wolf with Hathor, with Hecate. There's quite some similarities, especially with the birds and being bird goddesses, being magical goddesses. And let's see. Yeah, they teach shamanic skills, martial arts, battle spells, and rune lore. And they teach and sponsor both females and males. Let's see. And then, a Valkyrie horse is a traditional Norse poetic curriculation. Really, I gotta look that word up. Or a euphemism. A sacred word puzzle for wolf. And then Their creatures are bees, swans, horses, wolves, crows, and ravens. And you'll see a lot of those. Hecate is known as being the horse and dog goddess. And then also with bees, that can relate to the Melissae. And you'll just see. I mean, it's very interesting to me. And the Valkyries are psychic, spiritual, magical warriors, as well as martial artists. I already said that. And they may be invoked to battle on your behalf in many contexts, not only actual literal war. So you can call on them to defend you in a job space or in a spiritual space, or they can root for you. Say you're taking a test, right? You can call on the Valkyries to be on your side. I think that that's super cool. And then I like to kind of like decompartmentalize and remove a lot of the patriarchal lenses that are put on these goddesses. And so that's why I brought up the Odin part, because he's accredited for them. They serve him often. Oh yeah. So Odin was taught by a goddess named Freyja. There's Freya, and then there's Freyja. Isn't that interesting? And also Hera something. Herity? Okay, so why I'm looking for that last goddess name that influenced Odin. And so you can go online and you can look up, it'll tell you a whole bunch of stuff about Odin, but if you look up like all the stories of Odin, and it's interesting also because in my other video where I talk about Marduk, when I'm talking about Tiamat and how Abzu's blood is considered what gave human life in the Norse mythology story, it's Odin and his brothers that give the blood for life. And so I noticed that, I mean, we know who bleeds naturally for life. And then also just the constant, because I'm always backtracking, whether it's stories about living beings like Artemisia, or oh my gosh, I apologize, you guys. I'll remember in a minute. But the lady who taught astrology, and Socrates, I've mentioned her before. Her name's on the tip of my remembrance. And Hypatia, where the story that we're given is a total patriarchal lens of like demonizing and shaming. But you can see at the time, like if you look at the writings of the time, they weren't looked at that way. That came later, and that was retaught to us. And this is, I get in another video, but things that have been retaught to us that we internalize. And then of course, like even in the Norse mythology, if all the credit goes to Odin, well, who's before Odin? Who was Odin's teacher? Okay, so speaking of that answer, Odin's teacher was Herta. Let's do a little research and see if Herta is in here, because I don't know much about Herta. So the book I'm using is the Encyclopedia of Spirits by Judica Isles. Okay, and see here. I'll pause this real quick. Okay. Hertha, also known as Hertha, Ertha, Eartha. Goodness. Ertha and Nerthus. The origin is Teutonic. Hertha is a mysterious Germanic goddess, was eventually demonized as the Queen of Witches. What did I say about Hecate? And I wonder if there's a link. They might mention that. Okay. She was also a leader of the Wild Hunt, although little information regarding her survives, of course, because, her name remains sacred and familiar, as it is one of given to our planet Earth. Tacticus called Herta Mater Terra, Mother Earth, or Mother Earth or Mother Land. Archaeological evidence suggests that Denmark was the epicenter of her worship. Herta possessed a sanctuary amid groves on Rügen Island and the Baltic Sea, now modern Germany, but once ruled by Danes. Rügen's highest point is still called Hertaberg. Ruins of Herta's castle near Herta Lake on Rügen Island are believed to be remains of her shrine. She has apparently not left home. According to local lore, a beautiful woman emerges from the woods in full moon nights to bathe in Herta Lake, accompanied by female attendants. Once in the water, they may become invisible, but are heard splashing, eventually reappear to disappear back in the woods. These spectral bathers do not welcome company. It is considered dangerous to witness them. Allegedly, observers feel magically compelled to enter the deep lake, where they end up, not coming out of. Local rumor says that at least one person annually, this happens to, suggests that Huerta may be collecting humans. I don't like that, but, there's other stories about lakes and this type of superstition, or not superstition, but this kind of lore. Okay. According to Roman reports, the statue of Herta was ritually removed from her shrine and bathed in the lake several times a year. Her rites were secret and little else known. Whether they were always secret or whether secrecy increased under Roman threat is also unknown. Allegedly, most ritual attendants were I can't say that on here, were not here following fulfillment of their tasks, although whether as being given to Huerta or whether to maintain secrecy, also unknown. She appears in Norse mythology, as I was just talking about, as Nether's sister, Earth, his sister wife, Norge, the sea. The Vanir practice marriage between siblings similar to the ancient Egyptians. Well, there's a long discussion about how we've interpreted that, because they used to call it's did they though? We don't know this for sure, and it's always associated to, I don't know, deities, and I don't know about that. Great Mother's like, no, but maybe. Okay, I don't know for sure. I wasn't alive back then, and maybe I was. Anyhow, Nord and his children, Freya and Freyr, went to live in Asgard as Vanir representatives or hostages. Netherus is his first wife and their mother, but because of Aesir disapproving of the marriage between siblings, she remained behind on her island sanctuary. Alternatively, she just didn't want to go. Eventually, Odin, that inveterate traveler, came calling. The result was the Valkyries, daughters of Netherus and Odin, representing the true union of Aesir and Vanir. Okay. Anyways, this is what's in here. In her later guise as a witch goddess, characterized a deer crowned with hoops. She uses a stalk of valerian as a riding crop. Both plants are profound sedatives and sleep inducers. One of her second ancient festivals coincided with the vernal equinox. Um, we talked about her sacred site, the lake on the island, on the Rugen Island in the Baltic Sea. She also has a sacred grove that was allegedly beside the lake. Okay. So that's interesting. That's cool. So now we know where the name Earth kind of came from. And in the Sybil book, there's Earth Wren. So, okay, that's mostly the video for today. I'm going to end it with just a little information on the 9-day calendar. And just mention the energies. Today is Sunday, the 14th, and the energies, according to the 9-day calendar, are Mercury with the moon starting, the calendar starting the day after, no, the day of the new moon. Mercury, day of the new moon, Mercury. And we're actually in a half moon, I think, because we have a full moon coming up. And then the energy starting the calendar the day after the new moon, the energy is Neptune. So we have some deep swirling energies. We can definitely tell with, well, I'm not going to talk about this in this video because this is a teaching video, but we can definitely tell the energy. This is kind of a heavy, magical, watery energy, and I think we're in a retrograde with Saturn right now. So, and I think Neptune is also in retrograde. So there's some of that energy happening. This is, I mean, what I'm hearing for the energy of today is really pay attention to the mental thoughts and do exercises to stay, say, grounded or rooted or like feel sturdy. Put your feet on the ground, and add some water, even if you like spraying your face with some water, which might be nice, especially in places where it's hot or if it's raining outside. Stand in the rain with your feet on the ground as well. And cold baths or cold showers, a nap, and a walk, a nice long walk, journaling, just finding some kind of like peace, mental peace. Okay, so thank you for joining for my Valkyrie video. I'll be doing more, of course, more goddesses and a couple other things. Okay, humming, singing. Until next time, take care.